In the Eastern Conference, I'm curious what the expectations are going to be on Orlando. If Kevin Durant was the marquee offensive move in the offseason, Desmond Bane was a cut below him. I mean, Orlando, for the last 2 years, has been the number 2 team in the league when it comes to defensive efficiency, not deficiency, efficiency. They've got the front court firepower in Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner. They've got strong, sturdy defenders at multiple positions. Jalen Suggs coming back from an injury is going to be a huge addition for them. They just needed that one offensive puzzle piece. And on paper, it sure looks like Desmond Bane is that puzzle piece. I mean, he is a shot creator.
Yep.
He is a three-point shooter, plus 40% from three-point range last year. He's not a bad defensive player by any stretch. He's going to slip right into what they do defensively. Maybe it's because the Eastern Conference is so bad. It just is. Like when you have top-tier teams like Boston and Indiana falling off, and you compare it to the Western Conference and the giants they have out there, I think Orlando's got a great chance to at least be a conference finalist. I think that Desmond Bane adds that kind of offensive muscle. Like, he doesn't have to make them a top 10 offensive team. They're good enough defensively that they can just get to the middle of the pack offensively. I think that's enough to get them to a conference finals. What do you think?
I mean, you talked about the three-point shooting. You just have to remember, and I brought up my stats here just to make sure this is correct, not just last in three-pointers made last season, Orlando, but last in three-point percentage also. So in terms of what they're taking and what they're making, just dreadful. So the floor is just going to rise so much offensively for them. Tyus Jones, of course, is a playmaker who can make things happen. The question is a little bit, are they going to be able to maintain what last year I believe was the number 2 defense in the league? And injuries. I mean, that's what undid
Constant
them.
problem. And that derailed them last year early. Like, they might have had a better finish and maybe even a better postseason performance if they didn't lose Banchero. You know, they didn't lose their guys, Wagner, at different stretches. Suggs for the end, last part. Like, I mean, they lost a lot of guys for a lot of time, and I give them credit for getting to where they did, despite all those injuries. So, yeah, you do have to be on the lookout for that, no question about it. But if they can stay healthy like that, look, Orlando knows that they overpaid for Desmond Bane. Like, they know it. They're not stupid. They know 4 first-round picks is a lot. Like, that's a high price.
I would argue that sentence. But
they know it. I think I've talked to enough people that they know that they paid a premium for
that. Yes.
Okay, they paid a premium for.
Well,
but
no,
like they see what we see. Like, I don't. Here's like a thing. Like, if Orlando was a Western Conference team, I'm not sure they roll the dice on Desmond Bane. But I think because they're an Eastern Conference team, and because the East sucks, and because like all you really have to get past is a Cleveland team that hasn't proven anything, and a Knicks team that maybe overachieved last year, like. You take a chance. You roll the dice.
Look, here's how we know they get the situation. I mean, they hadn't made a trade in how many years prior to that? This is a team that never makes trades, and they made this kind of trade. I don't think it's an overpay at all. I think, yes, they realized that they did a premium price for Desmond Bane, but it is all about what that player means to you. It is not about what that player means on the open market to 30 teams. It is what that player means to you. It's like real estate, right? You only need one buyer because for them, it's the perfect house. And if Desmond Bane fits as well as we think he is going to, I don't think it's an overpay. And especially since they're a team that's kept its powder dry for so long, they had the assets. I thought it was a very smart move, and I'm really excited to see what that team can do.
Yeah. I just think with that kind of reliable defense and adding that kind of player, they're going to be a threat to win that conference. I worry about experience becoming a factor when you get deep into the playoffs. I think the one thing Cleveland has going for it, among the things Cleveland's going for it, is that they have that continuity. Like, they have failed multiple times. I mean, look, it's the way it goes. Every team that's won a championship in the last few years has failed at some level, sometimes a bunch of times. And Boston failed a ton.
Yeah, not just the last few years.
Yeah, I mean, Denver failed a ton. Even Oklahoma City flamed out in the second round in their first playoff run. Like, you got to go through some of the paces there. I think they're at the end of the postseason, they're going to run into the problem of experience, but potentially stopping them from rising. But I love it on paper. Draft picks are draft picks. Maybe it'll hurt you in the long term. Maybe Bane isn't the fit. Sometimes guys don't fit the way you think they're going to. But on paper, that seems like a no-brainer for that team to roll the dice and throw Desmond Bane into that mix.
And you mentioned the 3 teams you think are going to be the most competitive. I think we're going to have a weird situation in the East where the derby in the East is actually going to be pretty competitive. I think the relationship of those teams to each other in the standings, and I think it's going to be one of those things where the games between those teams feel like big games because they count for so much.
It's going to be so bad.
It's just so,
West.
right. It's just playing at a different level.
Are you in favor of reseeding? Because I hear this a lot from Western Conference executives, like we should reseed. A lot of them because they see what we see. Like, plug my team into the Eastern Conference, and I'm like a top 4 seed, and I'm competing for a conference championship.
Well, are you talking about reseeding in the entire league?
No, playoffs start 1 to 16.
So you can't. We've had this conversation.
The teams want to keep having it, though.
Some teams do. Teams in the West.
Yeah.
Right? It is never going to happen. Everybody out there having this discussion year after year, it is never going to happen. And the reason it is never going to happen is it would need to be ratified by a certain number of owners that is more than half. I believe it's like 2/3 or something like that. You know what? If you're an owner of a team in the East, you don't want all of your teams eliminated in the first round, right? There is no way Eastern Conference teams are going to agree to cut their playoff revenue, to cut the playoff sort of energy and excitement they can give their fans. If you reseeded 1 through 16, to your point, to the point of the GMs or the people you're talking to in the West, what would happen in the first round, Chris?
Milwaukee wouldn't make the playoffs is what would happen.
Right. So you can't, it's just not going to happen. So I get it why it's frustrating for teams in the West right now with this imbalance in the conferences. I get it why fans love to talk about it. But it's just a non-starter because of the money that teams make from being in the playoffs, the prestige, the justification of ticket prices and merch prices and trades and all the thing is, well, we made the second round. Well, we made the conference finals. And if every team in the East with this imbalance right now is just destined to either not make the playoffs or be gone by the first round, who's going to vote for that in the East? No one.
I think where the frustration is starting to bubble over is that this is kind of the apex of the moment, but the moment's lasted a long time. Like, it has been a generation where the Western Conference has been light years ahead of the East. There's been Eastern Conference teams, LeBron's Miami team, LeBron's Cleveland team, the Celtics. Like, there have been teams that you throw in here or there that win championships. So by and large, it has been a Western Conference dynasty for 20 some odd years. I think I agree with you. No way Eastern Conference. No way if you're like in Milwaukee, like, gee, let's reseed. Or if you're in Miami, you're going to say, let's reseed. But they like it the way that it is. The question is, though, should it be? And, like, should we be seeing, like, a 52-win LA Laker team eliminated in the first round because they have to play 68-win Oklahoma City in the first round, whereas they could be playing,
a team from the East that they're going to eliminate in the first round that no one's going to vote for. Let me ask you a question. Why do you think there has been this now generation plus of Western Conference dominance?
That's a good question.
What would you attribute it to?
I don't know. I think that having 2 LA teams helps in the Western Conference.
Because players want to live here?
Want to go there. Kawhi went from Toronto to LA for a reason. Paul George wanted to go back. He went east. Well, he went to Oklahoma City, I guess. But, like, he wanted to play in LA. LeBron wanted to play in LA. I think that's a big factor in all this. Why? Do you have a better one?
No, I think it's an interesting question only in that if people can identify, it's because of XYZ and the LA thing is part of it, but that's only 2 teams, right?
Right.
I think once you start with good players want to play with those players. So Steph Curry is an attraction even, I like San Francisco, but whatever city, he's in, that kind of thing. But what is really going to solve this isn't reseeding because it's, again, not going to happen. It's not going to happen. What will really solve this is if the Eastern teams can figure out some of the recipes that the Western teams. And by the way, some of it is bad luck. Some of it is bad trades and bad front offices. Obviously, the front office part of this game is so underrated. and make such a
100%. Look at the top 3 teams in the West that we're forecasting.
Right.
Oklahoma City, best drafting team in NBA history.
Yep.
Denver, drafted Nikola Jokic, a whole bunch of other guys that are from the foundation. Houston, we just talked about Durant, but Amen Thompson was drafted.
Right.
Alperen Sengun was drafted. Like they have, Jabari Smith was drafted. The core of their team is all drafted. You're right. I mean, I say this constantly, and it becomes repetitive, but like, just hit on draft picks and you win. Like hit on draft picks. Like everything else is just outside noise. Hit on draft picks, you're going to find a winner.
And look, the money you spend as a team on scouting, the number of scouts you have out there, the number of times they can see players play. The draft is in some case a crapshoot, right? And trying to judge what an 18-year-old is going to turn into in 5 years. But you can at least get an indication because there are teams out there doing it. So there we go. Not going to happen. Have to fix it some other way.